Hi everybody, this is Annalise from My Joy Body and I'm joined by my friend Holly. And Holly is one of my long-time cleanse participants, and she's done the cleanse with us 3 times, and I thought I would grab her and ask her why. So hi Holly, welcome.
Hello.
How
Thanks.
are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
Cool. So you've done 3 journeys with us, and I wondered if you could just tell us about that.
Yep, sure thing. So I was inspired to have a go when I saw an advertisement Annalise had put online for a 3-day fast. And I had been, I wasn't a particularly healthy person, and I had been trying out, I'd hit my 40s and I'd been trying out some diets and stuff that I hadn't done before, and just experimenting with getting a bit healthier and trying better foods, and developing my yoga practice to get fitter and more healthy. And her cleanse sounded, the 3-day fast I saw online sounded absolutely terrifying, but I thought I'd give it a whirl. And it was over a weekend, and it was a supported online practice where Annalise guided us through how to fast and was there as a support for that. And it was a really amazing introduction for me to meet Annalise in her capacity as a teacher. I found her to be I found you to be really incredibly knowledgeable and informative and supportive through that little 3-day period. From there, I was then inspired to join in her 4-week April cleanse, which just so happened to be in the first lockdown. Now that was incredibly daunting to me. I managed a 3-day fast and it was very challenging, but the reward I got from doing that 3-day fast was immense. And there was no way I could fathom managing 4 weeks of a cleanse. I mean, obviously it's not fasting, but I couldn't wrap my head around how I might manage to do that. But I sort of just dived in. And the timing was kind of cool with the lockdown, because I knew I wasn't going to have a whole lot of other stuff to do. So it was really kind of cool having that as a structure and a thing to be embarking on this strange new world with. And I'm forever grateful that I did that. It was not only an amazing introduction to the world of cleansing and detoxing and getting healthy, but the thing with Annalise's cleanse programs are that they are an incredibly holistic approach to improving your lifestyle and personal embedment or empowerment, and really amazing platform for introspection and becoming more attuned to yourself and nature, and connecting with the things that really matter in this world. So not only is it nutritional, but it's completely about your spirit and your body in all manners. So that's I got into it and how I got hooked. One of the things I really love is it's spring and autumn. So it's teaching me how to improve my lifestyle, but I get to pocket those into 2 little parts of the year in preparation for winter and in preparation for summer, which are like these times where I kind of just get to come back to myself and remember how to take care of me. And then I might go off and be, my normal self, so to speak, in those other months. But every single time I do this, I'm improving and getting better and bringing these kind of practices and ways of being and foods into my everyday normal life. And as time goes on, that becomes more and more my normal, which is really cool.
It kind of does that, doesn't it? Each time you do it, it kind of reinforces, you take things out of the cleanse into daily life. I feel that too.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned yoga as your part of your getting into this more healthy lifestyle. In the last cleanse, the Wolf You Fed, we had morning yoga for the first time. So we had 5 days a week. How did you find that?
Oh, I absolutely loved that. I loved the fact that daily it was a kind of daily reminder to focus and bring myself into the spirit of the cleanse and the theme of the day or the week, because we tended to have a kind of a theme or an idea that we were holding each week, and like a little kind of project that we'd be working on, and the yoga would be this kind of a vessel for that. And as well, I mean, it was recorded so we could do it at any time, but I just loved being able to wake up with our little group, our little community, be there together for 20 minutes at the beginning of the day, 20 minutes, half an hour, and then set forth on your day. And I mean, I love yoga, so it's how I start my day anyway. But the fact that you're doing it together with your crew who you are on this journey with was really, really cool.
Yeah. And then something else that you touched on, I mean, I really love that as well. And I'm really glad that I brought that in, and it will forever be in there for all of those reasons, you know, that meeting in and connecting with crew and connecting with the body, setting the intention. And that's what I wanted to ask you. So we have intentions through the week. We work with thematics that sit under a broad theme. We've worked with, the first cleanse I think you worked with was Return to Essence, which was actually one of my favorites, and one that I want to have as a reoccurring theme, because it delves into this kind of, we have the scaffolding of our personality, but we also have this essential being that is our prime thing that motivates us to be alive, and how do we integrate those two? I love that theme. I wonder, do you know what the theme is for this coming cleanse?
Yes, I have had a sneak peek, light and frequency, which I have to say I'm incredibly excited about. So the two themes I've worked with you are Return to Essence, which I did really, really love, and also The Wolf You Feed, which was a really fun and interesting journey as well. So I think just simply the fact that you have themes is fun, and creates this great, you know, it provides a structure and a kind of fun direction with which to move into. And for a returnee, it means that every single time we come back together, it's new and it's fresh and it's interesting. So you're not regurgitating the same program every season. It's always new and fresh. And yeah, like I say, for a returnee, that's really exciting to know that there's something new coming to the table. As for light and frequency, for me, that, you know, can have a couple of meanings. And I know certainly from a nutritional perspective, we will be lightening our food consumption and what it is that we're eating, and that will make us lighter, literally, both in how we feel and how we potentially weigh. But it's also about light source, light spiritually, and they're in the kind of the frequency of our energy as well. So for me, that's a really exciting place to be delving into. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it as well. And it came through really clearly that, you know, what's happening on this mundane level at the moment, you know, you just have to look out the window or turn on your computer, and what's happening in the mundane world is really dross. It's really heavy. There's a really heavy, stuck energy happening in humanity. And my idea with this theme is to, how can we just sort of elevate it? You know, that quote by Albert Einstein, that you can't solve a problem from the level of the problem. You have to go somewhere. Have you heard that quote before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what I'm sort of hoping to create in this container, sort of something that lifts us up above the mundane dross level of what's happening out there, so we can actually get a bigger capacity to hold a higher frequency. And when I talk about like higher frequencies, I mean the quality of what we're holding and giving to the world, like love, joy, happiness, you know, vitality. You know, these gratitude, you know, these are all things that create a frequency that is, you know, it's a high frequency. Whereas, you know, you just have to feel like, you know, think about pain and suffering, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's heavy, right? And we're just creating this, hopefully we're going to be creating this really like light.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Really exciting. Yeah.
It is exciting, hey. So, well, we know why you keep coming back, because it's good. And I just wanted to finally wrap up and say, you've brought some friends along with you before.
Yes.
You promote this work quite a lot. What did they think of it?
The friends that I had complete the courses have really loved it. So they have commented on really enjoying all of the aspects that you bring to it. Annalise provides an incredibly comprehensive workbook and food plan with these cleanses. So my friends have commented on how surprised they've been with the incredible level of information that is provided. And just really enjoyed a lot of the kind of not particularly technical, but some of the aspects of the way she runs the courses, that there'll be like the yoga or some guided meditations that are produced and can be interacted with live on Facebook or through Facebook, but they're also recorded. So to meet your own personal schedules and your own kind of way you live your life, if you can't make a certain time, it's still sitting there for you to be able to engage with and practice in your own time, which is really awesome for not only busy families or people who have lots on in their day-to-day, but also means that people overseas can do it. So it can be cross timelines, time zones, I mean. And
I think that you hit on something there as well that is worth just putting a highlighter over. You know, this baseline of knowledge about cleansing that is offered to every participant. It's just this kind of, what I've tried to create is something that's really solid and really easy to connect with, and it's clear. So you know what you're doing the whole way through. The science is there, the information is there, the food plan's there, the workbook's there. It's a solid base. And then from that, that's where we kind of start to have fun. We start to play with the things like the meditations and the community calls and the questions and the workshops. And yes, I think that's really, and I get that also from the feedback as well, like just that quality of the baseline structure, that it's really simple, it's really accessible, it's really kind of almost muggle, you know, it's anyone can do it, it's written really easily, but then we can play with it. And actually on top of that as well, there is with the baseline diets and the bell curve, there is that potential for any level. So you know, I know that this time you'll probably deepen your fasting on the bell curve on the deep dive, and you might change your baseline diets a little bit more this time. So that's something else that's about the course that I've designed it to be, just to meet everyone where they're at and hold them through that. Yeah. And
that's what I've found in doing my kind of repeated my repetitions, or having met you more than once, is that the first time I went in, I was pretty gung-ho, and I went really hard and I went really deep, and it was intense and it was amazing, and I'm incredibly grateful for having done that, because I learned a whole lot and I got a lot out of it. The next time I did it, in fact, I actually chose to do your at-home cleanse version, which is one where I opted to give it a go myself without the support of the group. So I paid a little less, I received the workbook, and I went about it in my own time and my own speed. And it's awesome, but I can say hand on heart, I won't be doing that again, because what I learned was that I loved the full package with the community. So the at-home kit is there if you're interested, but it's the community and the entire package that I got the most out of. And so the next time when I came back and did it with the full group, I thought I would try and ease off a little bit and be gentler on myself and try a baseline that was easier. So I wasn't going hard out, no fruit, sugars, totally vegan, but I eased in and then out again, being a little bit easier on myself, having sugars and allowing for some meat, because I am a meat eater. And you know what came out of that? I mean, I was gentler and kinder on myself. However, at the end, I did have a little bit of regret that I hadn't taken the time, that 1 month, it's only 1 month, it's only 4 short weeks, that I hadn't gone a little deeper. So you're right, I will be making an effort to strengthen my practice this October to see how I can go. So it's always a really interesting kind of balance between being kind and gentle to yourself, but also, you know, you might as well give it a go and see what you can achieve. And I'm excited to see what I can do this time around.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about doing it, repeating, is that you get to know yourself. And that's interesting what you said, that first one you went perhaps a little bit too hard. So that, and I think we also we go into the psychology of our relationship to food, and we go into the relationship of ourselves as well. So it's always there as food's an interesting reflective tool, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's like,
yeah,
how is this personality, that sort of constructed self that I was talking about before, how does that play out in my relationship to food? And where am I holding, or where am I too loose? And that repetitive practice can just help us come into that sort of mastered awareness of who we are and where we're at with that process. Yeah. Cool. Well, I really am. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming on and chatting with me. I'm really excited to be with you in October. I think actually, this is something that you'll probably be able to testify to, as well as, bringing a friend with you, and also, establishing these relationships. It's really nice to hang out with your friends and do this with your friends, because it's this, we create this beautiful community, this fraternity, and this sort of circle space where we're all deeply vulnerable. We go into places that we might not share with people out in the world, and it creates community, which is so kind of essential. And actually, I think you will attest to this as well, and it surprised me when I first started doing this kind of work online. I always thought, online, whatever. But we actually can create these incredible relationships online, just like this.
That's right. And I would never have agreed to be on a video before. And the cleanses were, in fact, the first 3-day fast was the first time I'd ever done a live on any sort of social platform. It was a really interesting experience from that angle, because it wasn't what I thought was going to be part of it, and in a way it's not. But this is also, I mean, for many of us now, because of the lockdowns, this is kind of become more and more normal, and it is more comfortable for us to do this. Like normally I would have a face full of makeup on. I don't even know where it is anymore. But you get more and more comfortable with showing up and being holding yourself accountable for being part of the group and being there for each other. And that thing you said about vulnerability, that in the first, I think if I'd heard that earlier, it might have kind of scared me. But the interesting thing about having a vulnerability with a group of people who you slowly get to know over this time is, as soon as the first person shows their vulnerable side, or shares something personal with the group, without even really realizing or expecting it to happen, you soften, and you even though you feel like you might want to protect something, you soften into a space where you realize this really is your community and your group. It's hard for me to explain, but I never saw it coming, and it's incredibly powerful and really beautiful, and I'm very grateful for these groups that we've had.
Me too. And I too had that same thing. I wouldn't have expected that I could be seen, and also to witness and to hold somebody, and that while they're being vulnerable is an incredible privilege, I found. And I actually find going through these cleanses and the places that we get with each other is an incredible privilege. It's an incredible privilege to hold the space, but even just to be in the space and allow people to bring themselves so honestly forward. Well, we should probably wrap it up now. You and I could probably chinwag about it. Well, thank you, Holly, and just an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you on the October cleanse.
Light and frequency, here we go.